Good morning, Botai. The last few days we've been speaking about some of the halachot of shehiyah, which means independent of the prohibition of bishul, of cooking on Shabbat, there's also another prohibition to sometimes just leave a pot of food on a fire on Shabbat. So we spoke about the reason for this, the Chachamim said, is because they were concerned that a person might stoke the coals. And nowadays, even though we don't have coals anymore on the stoves, but the Chachamim were still concerned that a person may make the flame higher by turning the knob. We spoke about yesterday, there are some ways, certain things that you can do to the fire to allow leaving on the food before Shabbat without any concern. Now, I told you there's a way to fix the fire, tikkun ha'esh. Today we'll speak about tikkun ha'ma'achal. What happens if you're not able to fix the fire, quote unquote? Let's say you can't use a blech. Let's say you don't have a plata. All you have is a gas stove and an open flame. What's the halacha in terms of leaving food? At what point do we consider the food cooked enough that the Chachamim are no longer concerned that he's going to stoke the flames? This starts off as a machloket tanaim, which then turns into a machloket rishonim, which then turns into machloket acharonim for halacha lema'aseh, as follows. According to the Chachamim in the Mishnah, in the third perek of Masechet Shabbat, perek Kira, they say the food needs to be fully cooked, mevushal kol tzorko, plus mitztamek vira'lo, which means the more it gets cooked, the worse it gets. Only when you have both of these things can you leave the food on an open flame without fixing the flame by putting a blech or a plata or whatever it is. So again, fully cooked and gets worse the more it cooks, according to the Chachamim. The problem according to that is many of the Shabbat foods that people commonly have don't fit that description. Because if you think about it for a second, a cholent or any kind of chamin that people have, all of the overnight foods that Am Yisrael has for Shabbat morning, what are they? They'll get better as they cook overnight. So that wouldn't be good according to Chachamim. You wouldn't be able to leave that on an open flame. Nevertheless, there's another opinion among the Tanaim in the Gemara on Shabbat, which is that of Hananiah. Hananiah writes that as long as it's already cooked, ma'achal ben derusai, which means partially cooked. How much is partially? There's a machloket. We hold with regards to Shabbat, it has to be at least half cooked. Once it's half cooked, by the time Shabbat begins, it's permissible to leave that food even on an open flame by the time Shabbat begins. Since it's already half cooked, we're not concerned that a person's going to be so pressured to stoke the coals and to have ara. What's the halacha? The Atarif, the Rambam, and Maran Shulchan Aruch, they hold like the Chachamim. It's got to be fully cooked and gets worse in order not to blech out the flame. However, Rashi, Tosafot, and the Rama, they hold like Hananiah. They hold that being half cooked is enough. The issue is, maybe that's good for Ashkenazim, but Sfaradim, in general, if you have the Rif, and the Rambam, and the Shulchan Aruch on one side, that kind of shuts the door, in general, for any other opinions in Halakha. So what is a Sfaradi supposed to do if he doesn't have a blech? Or, many times you find there are people who leave cholents on an open flame when Shabbat begins and it's not yet fully cooked. According to the Rif Rambam and Shulchan Aruch, it would seem that that's a transgression of Isur Shehiyah. We'll speak about tomorrow what the halacha lema'aseh is, but never look down or never underestimate Isur Shehiyah, because the Gemara says, and it's Psak Shulchan Aruch, that if a person transgressed Isur Shehiyah, I didn't cook on Shabbat, but I just left it on the flame in a prohibited manner, the Shulchan Aruch writes that it's asur to partake of that food until Motzei Shabbat. The food is asur on Shabbat. Ben b'shogeg, ben b'mezid. So a person really has to take care to make sure to know these halachot well. We'll speak about the psak halacha even for Sfaradim tomorrow. Maybe there's a way out, even though it might be against the Shulchan Aruch. We'll speak about that tomorrow.